Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. As a super quick further ado, Gamersubs is currently doing a Christmas gift with purchase sale, so that's going to be while supplies last. So if this interests you, you know where to go. Use code OZ at checkout. Thank you! This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is, Hi, my name is Alex, posted November 1st, 2016 to r/legal advice, r/ask Reddit, and r/best of legal advice. Serious. I may need to get rid of a lion. I know this sounds crazy. It is crazy, but it's real. My uncle has owned multiple exotic animals in his time, a lion and a bear, and has a permit to own those animals in another state. A friend of his in this exotic animal world has had a litter of lion cubs and owes my uncle a favor. And he wants to give me a lion. I don't want a lion. I can't have a lion. I'm pretty sure it's illegal to have one in Kentucky. He may have already paid for this lion, and he is serious and adamant. I need to have this lion cub. I thought he was joking. He was not. I'm desperately hoping we can convince him how horrible of an idea it would be if he actually delivers the lion, but just in case, how do I get rid of a lion? What would I be facing legally if I suddenly were in possession of one? What would happen to him if he were caught in Kentucky with the lion? Relevant comments. Sore thumb. I specialize in dog law, not lion law. That said, where on the lion scale, which ranges from it's a poodle with a lion cut to it's an actual goddamn lion, does this particular lion fall? OP responds, it's an actual 6-week-old goddamn lion. He called it a short-maned lion. Sortham responds further, let's talk Kentucky lion laws. Did you say lemon laws? No, I did not. Unless you're a zoo, a licensed preserve, or the lion serves a medical necessity, I would pay good money to see you take your emotional support lion to work. You can't have one. If you try to have one anyway, expect the local constabulary to be quite displeased with you. OP responds, I'm actually in graduate school getting a doctorate in psychology, and one of my cohorts suggested training it to be a therapy lion. Thing is though, I don't want the lion, and am trying to not have one. My uncle has said he will drop the lion off. I believes he thinks when I see it, I'll fall head over heels for this dangerous, expensive creature. What happens if he does and I have to spend time trying to get rid of it? Word spreads quickly, and when the police find out soon after the fact, what happens? A fine? Would they take the lion off my hands? Please. User Advocate 4 comments, I'm not a lawyer but a licensed psychologist. If Kentucky has caretaker laws like some states do, you should explain to your uncle that any criminal issues could make licensure an issue. Just a charge in some states will draw board scrutiny you don't want. Letting him know this could hurt your career may be enough to dissuade him. OP responds, that is a fantastic point. Goodness knows I don't want to put my license in jeopardy after hopefully passing the EPPP. User Reddit RW comments, perhaps you could convince your uncle to donate the lion to a zoo in your state? That way you could visit it all the time. Well, he doesn't have to know. He's happy, you're happy, zoo is happy. Win, win, win! Regarding the therapy lion. Mr. Jones, I have some good news and bad for you. The good news first. Little Johnny no longer suffers from fear of large mammals and will no longer wet the bed. The bad news, regrettably, is that our therapy lion, unfortunately... More info on the uncle. When my uncle had a bear, he didn't have a bite suit. It did try to kill him, though. When asked to update, I will update hopefully with the news that he has decided to not go and get the cub from the guy. Wish me luck. About 7 months later, OP goes into r/ask Reddit, June 15th, 2017. Lawyers of Reddit, what's the stupidest case you've been asked to take on? And did you? OP got clocked like a tech YouTuber going 95 in a school zone, and someone commented, Hey you, what happened to the lion, man? We need to know. OP responds, my mother called the uncle who had the lion, who is her brother, and told him in no uncertain terms that lions will not be welcomed. He has since discussed other, more legal, but still exotic animals that he wants to give me. but hasn't actually bought any like he did with the lion. Last I heard, the lion was being donated or sold to a zoo. He won't tell me much, and I think it's because he feels bad and awkward about it. Deleted user responds, "Thank you, I needed that follow-up in my life." OP responds further, "No problem, I'm glad to report there isn't a lion in my home. It's a win-win." User and Ani Miss comments, "Do you want an exotic animal? I'm so confused why he's so stuck on giving you one. It didn't sound like you wanted the lion, so why does he want to get you something else so bad?" OP responds, "I don't want an animal. I have a cat, who is awesome, and I can only have one pet anyway in my current apartment, which is fine. He's an impulsive person and has the ideology that life is an adventure, and sometimes you need to do crazy things, because you only have one life to live." I totally agree, but I also think those crazy things shouldn't involve illegal and highly stressful situations. I also think this is one way he shows love for family and friends. He's very generous. I have had some weird pets in the past, like an axolotl, and I know he has enjoyed having his large pets, so he probably wants me to also have that opportunity. Update, June 15th, 2017. My uncle is certainly eccentric and makes questionable decisions, but he's in no way an asshole. He doesn't do things out of malice, but is very kind and generous. In fact, the last time he bought a lion, he got it from a large game auction and then organized getting it to a zoo, so saved its life. People aren't perfect, and unfortunately, this issue only showed one aspect of him. Deleted user comments, "Relax, man. We all know your uncle is both eccentric and awesome. The only thing you could do to convince us even more is some images of these exotic animals you talk about. Smiley face." OP responds, "Oh, it's a good idea. I'll call and see if he has any. He just built a house, so maybe he has them somewhere without having to dig." How does one end up owing someone a favor that involves giving them a lion cub? That's honestly the biggest question that I have, because every other question is entirely dependent on that one. Like, what kind of fucking favor is your uncle collecting that requires a lion cub be a sacrifice for it? This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Of course, Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is Throw RA Waffle House. Posted to r/relationships May 11th, 2020. My 29 female boyfriend, 29 male, keeps getting into fights with a cook at Waffle House. I know this sounds really weird, but here it is. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. We met and started dating when we were both in graduate school, but I dropped out to go back to college to pursue a different career. We're both finished now and live together, making a fairly nice combined income. Our income is relevant because we could afford to eat somewhere nice when we're out and about, but he always wants breakfast food. When he was a child, his dad couldn't stand eating breakfast-type food in the afternoon or evenings, so his mom would make him waffles/pancakes, eggs, and bacon in the evening whenever his dad was busy or out of town. It's a wonderful and safe memory for him, and when he goes to his happy place, he says that's where he always goes. My boyfriend is an incredibly nice and caring person. He's emotionally tuned in to everyone and recognizes arising issues a long time before they occur. He loves animals and is kind and gentle with every bug, bird, and pet that he comes across. He's almost always willing to turn the other cheek in social situations where somebody tries to insult him or gets aggressive towards him, and usually winds up diffusing the situation and having a productive discussion about whatever the issue was. Except at Waffle House. Anytime we're out, he wants to go to the same goddamn Waffle House and get breakfast food. I'm not a big eater, so I used to not really care. I would just drink coffee and read my book while he enjoyed his food. But that became impossible once he and this one cook started chirping at each other every time we went there. Boyfriend complained about his eggs one time because he likes them a little runny and they were served hard. The cook responded by giving him scrambled eggs. When he brought it up again, the cook served him 2 hard-boiled eggs. I think it was just part of the cook's shtick, and it was kind of funny to be honest, but my boyfriend wasn't able to laugh it off. When he left, he was kind of in a bad mood, but we didn't really talk about it. The next week, we were out getting some shopping done, and he wanted to go to Waffle House again. I suggested that we try out a different place, or at least a different Waffle House location, but he only wanted the same Waffle House. We went in and sat down, and once again, the same cook served us his eggs wrong. My boyfriend sort of snapped at him that he wasn't interested in messing around and just wanted the correct eggs. The cook then served him a piece of toast with a hole cut in the middle with a fried egg in it. My boyfriend got really mad and threw the egg toast at the cook, which made the cook come around from behind the bar and throw it back at him. They ended up sort of wrestling/fighting until my boyfriend was like, "This is bullshit," and walked out. Nobody got hurt, but the few other people in there were watching and laughing a bit. This is the crazy part. My boyfriend keeps going back and ordering eggs and getting into fistfights with the same cook. It's almost a ritual at this point. My boyfriend orders runny eggs. The cook serves him some other version of eggs. And then they beat the shit out of each other. I quit going with him after the second fight, but he keeps going by himself. They're like Peter and the giant chicken from Family Guy. It's the weirdest thing. They physically fought like 6 or 7 times over this. I've tried to talk to him about it a few times, but he keeps saying it's a matter of principle. I've told him to talk to the manager or something like that, but he just waves it off. Apparently, that cook hasn't yet made him the correct runny eggs, but it's like he spends the week learning new ways of preparing eggs to piss my boyfriend off. The thing is, we're getting married this summer. He's accepted a job in a new city, and it'll be easy for me to find work after the wedding. So we'll be moving away from his sworn enemy Waffle House guy. He hasn't really been out since quarantine started, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the first place he goes when the restaurant opens back up for sitting customers. But my main worry is this strange, vindictive side of him I've never seen before that leads him to fight the same guy every week. The violence itself is an issue for me, but the obsession over it almost bothers me more. Should I be worried that this side of him will come up later in our marriage? How do I get him to open up about this? Is this type of obsession a choice, or is it indicative of something deeper? God fucking damn it. I was really confused as to why this was posted in r/BestOf. But then I scrolled up and found out that Direct Caterpillar, the reason why his tagline wasn't there, which I just read it anyways, is because this is not Best of Redditor updates, this is Best of No updates. I have no idea how I stumbled upon this post. This whole thing feels like a sketch straight out of I Think You Should Leave. I'm sorry that this is in the video, because I genuinely thought this was an update post. But I just didn't look close enough, I guess. So my fucking bad. Because this is being recorded so I can have, like, a bit of time off and actually, visit my family and whatnot, I can't really just delete this and remove it. So I'm sorry for the post that doesn't actually have an update going into the subreddit that's dedicated to post with updates. But I hope you enjoyed the Waffle House kerfuffle, because I sure did. This post was collected by Lucy Aria Rose, and their tagline is, "I'm keeping the garlic." The original OP is Cinder Squire, posted to r/legal advice, December 30th, 2024. Unhired for discussing wages on Facebook. For context, I'm 29 female, a seasonal employee at a Renaissance festival in Florida. Employment lasts 3 months. The starting pay is state minimum, which has been escalating over the past few years. W4 gig. I made a comment on a Facebook thread and was unhired for the upcoming season, after having worked there for the previous 2 seasons. The thread was in a private Facebook group consisting of other festival workers. The comments discussed employers not paying their employees enough. I mentioned some companies by name, including the festival I was going to be working for, and simply stated they do not pay enough. I received a text from my manager asking to discuss the comment, as someone from administration had brought it up during a meeting. Over a phone call, he fired me. I received an email shortly thereafter stating my application for the season had been rejected. I'm wondering if the NLRA, National Labor Relations Act, applies here, given the seasonal nature of the job. Some of OP's comments. No palpitation 7752. You weren't even an employee. They can reject your application over this. Even if you are presently employed, they can fire you for publicly criticizing them by saying they don't pay enough. They can't fire you for discussing what you make with others at your workplace, but they can fire you over public criticism about what they pay versus what you think they should pay. OP responds, I called the NLRB this morning and they told me my comment is protected speech and that I was, in fact, employed, despite not reaching my start date. User no palpitation comments further, "You can certainly look into suing them, and the judge may or may not agree with the NLRB's interpretation." OP further responds, "The process through the NLRB is to file a charge, which is followed by an investigation. If the investigation finds the charged party guilty of restricting concerted activity, the NLRB provides the opportunity for a settlement. If a settlement cannot be reached, the charge will be brought to court." Update, November 13th, 2025, about 11 months later. I made a post at the beginning of the year and decided I wanted to give an update for anyone who may experience something similar. In late December, I was fired from my job working site crew at a particular Renaissance festival in location, Florida. Shortly after making comments publicly on Facebook about the festival not paying its staff enough. I had previously worked the 2023 and 2024 seasons. At the time, I was unsure if the National Labor Relations Act even applied to me, as I had not officially begun working for the festival's 2025 season. Turns out, yes, the NLRA applies to anyone who has been hired to do a job that would be classified as W-2. This includes gig workers being misclassified as 1099 workers and undocumented immigrants. After speaking with an NLRB agent shortly after my termination, I did as they suggested and filed a ULP, a labor rights violation charge, against the festival. Within 3 weeks before the NLRB could begin to investigate, the festival offered me a settlement, which included offering my job back, a pay raise, and back wages for the days of work I missed due to my termination. This whole experience has been eye-opening. When I went to Reddit almost a year ago, I didn't think I would have a leg to stand on. Some advice for anyone wondering? Call the NLRB and talk to an agent. Ask questions. Give them all the info. You can also search up ULPs on the NLRB.gov site for cases that may relate to your own. I found several that helped me understand my rights as an employee. OP's only comment, Hammy Will 2024. Excellent! I'm so glad it worked out the way it did for you. You're absolutely right. Speak to the NLRB or an employee labor lawyer. Don't go to an employment lawyer that represents employers. OP responds with 100% emoji 3 times. The NLRB was honestly so much more helpful and easier to work with than I ever would have thought. When I sought out a lawyer, there wasn't a lot of money to be made from my case and was subsequently denied when I inquired. In the end, I managed to handle it all without one. That being said, every case is different and some states have increased protections for workers. Research your options. That settlement offer is extremely telling that the moment that the Ren Fair company received that notice, they probably realized just how screwed they actually were and had to quickly double back and figure out how they could fix this without finding themselves screwed. I know this doesn't do much for my European or Canadian or literally anywhere else in the world that's not the United States audience here, but hey, at least you now know what to do if you ever find yourself in a situation like this in the US. This post was collected by Lucy Aria Rose, and their tagline is, "I'm keeping the garlic." The original OP is Automatic Horror 5277, posted in r/legal advice June 14th, 2025. Deceased girlfriend's mother is threatening to sue for equity in my home. Location, Florida. Throwaway since I don't know who might see this. My girlfriend and I were together for 7 years. She passed away 2 years ago. She lived with me for 5 of the 7 years we were together. I bought my home a year into our relationship. I was the only one on the mortgage, and now I own the home. I came into full ownership of the home after she passed. My name is also the only one on the bills. My girlfriend did not pay rent. My girlfriend's mother has contacted me and has informed me that she intends to sue me for equity in the home, claiming that she has proof that my girlfriend invested in the home and that she paid to have renovations done to the house. We renovated one of the bathrooms and a bedroom, and I paid all the costs related to that. She did so via her family attorney, who I looked up and I don't believe works in this type of law. He appears to do wills and estate planning. She's saying I owe my girlfriend's estate $100,000. I have no idea where she could have even come up with this number. For what it's worth, my girlfriend's mother has never liked me and has been particularly vicious towards me, including an accusation that I was responsible for my girlfriend's death. She died of natural causes. I have not spoken to her since this outburst, which was shortly after my girlfriend's funeral. Her mother was the executor of my girlfriend's estate. My girlfriend's family, including her father and siblings, have always supported me and have denounced her. Basically, I'm wondering if I need to worry about this and what questions I need to ask when I meet with an attorney on Monday. My name is on everything. I can't even find any receipts or anything that even has her name on it. This, coming from an actual attorney, does have me spooked a bit. I received this notice yesterday. Thanks for your time. Edit. By saying come into ownership of the home, I mean to say I paid off the mortgage. Sorry for any confusion. Edit 2. Thank you to everyone who has answered my questions. To clarify some things, no, her name has never been on the deed to the house, and also, no, we did not share bank accounts. I paid for everything out of my own accounts, the mortgage, the renovations, everything. She, at no point, contributed to these. One of OP's comments. Commenter. Was the girlfriend on the deed of the house? Did she have a will? Who was the beneficiary of her estate? OP responds, I'm the only one on the deed. She did have a will. It left everything to her parents. Top comments. Matrix. If your girlfriend was never on the deed and there is no written agreement or documented financial contribution toward ownership, her estate has no legal claim to any equity in your home. Probate court cannot award assets the deceased did not legally or equitably own. Any claim to equity would have to go through civil court, where the estate would need to prove she had a financial interest based on something like unjust enrichment or a constructive trust. That is a high bar without clear supporting evidence. It's possible this is more of a pressure tactic than a serious legal claim. If a lawsuit is filed, your attorney can advise whether it qualifies as frivolous and whether it would be appropriate to pursue recovery of your legal fees. Based on what you've described, the claim appears very weak. Update post, June 18th, 2025, 4 days later. First, I would like to thank everyone who expressed their condolences to me regarding my girlfriend. It's been a very difficult road since she's been gone. Secondly, thank you to everyone who sent me advice and support for navigating this. I just want to tell my experience. I ended up meeting with 3 different lawyers, 2 free consultations and 1 paid. I went with all of the documentation I had, and all 3 pretty much told me the same thing. Unless they had something I didn't, they did not see a case where her mother had any sort of claim to try to get anything from me. We even went over Cash App and Venmo transfers, and while she did send me money through those, the money I sent to my girlfriend was more than what she sent me. The attorney that I paid for the consultation for offered to write a legal response to the letter on my behalf at no additional cost, but with the understanding that should she move forward with a lawsuit, that I would have to begin making payments towards their service if I wanted to use them. I agreed to that. They allowed me to read their response and broke down the legal terms for me that I didn't understand before sending it. I agreed, and they sent it. This was yesterday morning. Earlier this morning, I got a phone call from the attorney's office stating that they had received a response. The attorney then got on the phone with me personally to let me know that the response they received from her attorney stated that she would not pursue any further and to consider the matter closed. I know that my experience will not be typical of what may happen with others, but I wanted to make this update and again, thank everyone for their support and their advice. The mom 100% wanted to see if she could pull the rug out from under OP and if he would buckle at the first sign of legal threat. And chances are, they 100% were not expecting a legal representation to be sent that quickly. And on top of that, my guess would be is the letter probably, laid out exactly how the case would go and what to expect, and the mother was probably informed that her case had nowhere to go, and this was going to be a moot cause. My guess would be is they probably went over the fact that if this failed in court, she would have to pay the legal fees, so she probably stepped back pretty quickly. What a way to spit on your daughter's memory, by the way. Like, come on. This post was collected by Schattenspringer, and their tagline is, waste of a read, literally no drama. The original OP is My Time to Confess, posted to r/confessions August 8th, 2014. I married my wife because I owe her family around $10,000. My time to shine, I guess. So, growing up, I was the usual jerk. My dad left me when I was around 6, my mom was an alcoholic and abusive, and I basically was living in a dump with her. Life sucked like shit. The best part was going to school. No, it was not the teachers, they fucking sucked. It was my friends who respected me and accepted me for the jerk I am. I enjoyed socializing with them. They made my day. However, they were bullies. Now, I didn't give a shit about bullying. I knew it happened, but as long as I didn't do it or was the victim, I was fine. In comes this shy, scared, and nervous-looking girl in middle school. My girlfriends began to group up and bully her for almost a couple of weeks. I didn't care. I wasn't gonna take part or be the victim. I just wanted to fucking finish school at the time. The bullying continued for this girl. She would cry, hide, and tried to step away from school as long as she could. When my friends locked her into a locker once, I stopped them. I guess she used that opportunity to get to know me. When my friends skipped school, she would come and talk to me or sit near me at lunch. She would share her lunch with me since I had nothing. She helped me with my homework, which I had no idea about. And she began to pay me, which I liked. I guess in return, I stopped my friends from getting to her. I owed her that. As years went by, she invited me to dinner with her parents. We would hang out together and she'd pay for everything, which, again, I liked. I liked her, but she loved me, if you know what that feels like. As time continued to go by, I got my driver's license at 17. The problem was that a car would cost a lot of money, and insurance for a young person like myself was a lot. So I asked her parents for the money, saying I'll pay them back. I knew they would say no. They should have said no. Everything would be so different if they did, but they said yes and bought me my very own car. After that moment, I realized that I had to take care of their daughter, at least until I paid them back. I would drive her anywhere, everywhere. We became closer and closer. She was so happy with me and always has a smile on her face when she sees me. It was her that kissed me first. It was her that brought me to her church. It was her that proposed to me, and it was both of us that got married to each other and gave each other our virginity. We've been married for 10 years tomorrow. I still owe her parents for the car and owe my wife all the cash she gave me. I like her, but she loves me so much. I've never cheated on her or ever thought about it. Our lives are perfect, but I wish I could let her know that I don't love her the way she loves me. To conclude, I work a minimum wage job and my wife is a teacher. We don't have kids. She loves me so much, but if I could take it all back, I would. This is my confession. Feel free to ask any questions. Notable comments. I don't know, man. It sounds like you do love her. I mean, you truly love her in the most important ways. You protect her when she needed it. You stuck with her for years through everything. She supported you in your time of need as well, and her family has been very supportive of you, it seems, as well. All of these things are a great foundation for a relationship. Our society has some pretty messed up myths regarding love that screw up our perceptions. We expect love to be this mystical feeling that is always there like some movie. Here are some of the most common myths. Myth 1. Love is a feeling. If you're not feeling love, then you don't really love your partner. Myth 2. If you have to question whether or not you love your partner, you obviously don't love him/her, and it's time to walk away. Myth 3. You should know that it's right. If you don't have that feeling of rightness, then it's clearly not right. Myth 4. You should feel head over heels in love, which means butterflies and fireworks. Myth 5. Your partner should make you feel alive, whole, and fulfilled. All of these myths screw us up if we buy into them. Sure, there might be some of these things in a relationship, but there is far more to a long-term relationship than any of that. Love is sticking around when your own ego says you don't want to. Love is being there when you really are too tired to be there. Here's an article explaining some of their myths. You were a jerk from an abusive home with an alcoholic mother, and this woman bonded with you and supported you. She was a bullying victim who needed a hero, and you stepped up. Sounds like a great foundation for a relationship if you ask me. I don't know if you could find anything better, to be honest. Another comment. I think that you're saying you don't even think of cheating on her speaks volumes. In every relationship, there will always be one person who loves the other more. It's natural, and honestly to be expected. Don't feel guilty for that. Or if you do, pour yourself into being more of you, the man that she loves and makes her happy. Now that that's out, let's explore possibility. Honestly, it's no wonder your love for her is so much less than hers for you. Love takes a certain vulnerability, and she has it in spades. You're protective of yourself by default for very legitimate reasons. Are you secretly waiting for the other shoe to drop, for her to magically treat you like your abusive mom? Or perhaps you won't let yourself love her because you think she deserves better. Being happy isn't explicitly requiring money or being worshipped. She probably needs a gruff protector, not a timid, infatuated partner. Maybe the process of getting together with her wasn't a challenge. That's your primal instincts. Evolve beyond that. Perhaps it's time to really analyze why you're so indifferent about your relationship. In the end, if she's happy with you, yes, and you're happy with being with her, you must be on some level if cheating isn't even an option. That's all that matters. Another commenter. I'm not going to comment about the relationship or love, as I've never been in a long-term relationship, but I will say money only goes so far, and what you've done for her as it is worth well more than $10,000. Comment 4. You love her. You just have some other mystical concept of love that you don't think you have. Love is something that grows over time if it's nurtured. Be each other's best friend. Be happy. Update, August 9th, 2014, one day later. Today I took my wife out to lunch for our anniversary. When I saw her cute face, I immediately felt different. This was due to the fact that my thread blew up with lots of advice yesterday night. I want to thank you guys and girls. You know who you are. You made me think of my wife differently today. It was the first time that I actually told her I loved her without forcing myself to say it. At first, I muttered it under my breath and my wife asked what I said. I tried a second time and again, I couldn't speak up. Then I said it loud for the third time. My wife smiled and her face turned all pink. We remained quiet for a little while until she began to ask about my day. We talked for a little while before we visited her parents. I told her parents that I would start paying them back for the car they had bought me when I was in my teens. They told me not to worry about it, that they were happy that I remember and visit them even though it wasn't their anniversary. We talked for a couple of hours. My wife and I returned home, and it was then that I opened Internet Explorer and asked my wife to look at my thread. We sat down together and she read it. She began to cry while reading it and hugged me so tight. The last time I saw her cry was on our wedding night, and it was tears of joy according to her. I told her that I realized I was treating her unfairly. I told her I wanted to be more loving towards her. I told her I loved her and she was my life. She told me that I was her life, that I saved her from killing herself, and that without me, she wouldn't be happy. At this point, I was crying. My wife is currently sleeping, and to conclude, I want to thank you all again for the advice. For the people that told me to pay back my debts and leave her, I realized that I will stick by my wife till death do us part like I had promised her 10 years ago. She's my life right now, and I don't want to have anyone by my side than her. Good night, all. Honestly, the biggest sin that OP's committed here is using Internet Explorer. This post is also just a really good example as to why therapy needs to be normalized for men. Well, especially 10 years ago when it wasn't really normalized. It's still in the process of being normalized, but therapy's good. Can help you realize emotions that you don't quite understand, because it's clear from the get-go here that OP did in fact love his wife, he just didn't understand how to process his emotions properly, or what they meant. OP spent the last 10 years of his life thinking that he didn't love his wife and feeling the guilt of that because he was probably extremely guarded from his childhood and feeling like an imposter, and not realizing that the care that he felt for his wife was actually the real deal, and just because his emotions may not have been as strong for his wife as hers are for him, well, that doesn't mean you don't love her, bud. And it is a bit of a shame that it took him posting to Reddit for him to finally begin to see that, but it's still good nonetheless that he did. I mean, hell, by now these two would have been married for 20 years. Hopefully they're still together, but I did see a few comments on the best of people talking about how this is a horror story from the wife's perspective, and I do admit, I personally don't know if I would have the courage to admit to my significant other if, for the past 10 years, I felt as though I didn't reciprocate those feelings towards them. But lucky for OP, she probably saw this as her husband finally opening up to her and actually being emotional, probably after a lifetime of him putting guards and barriers up so that way he could keep himself protected. Which again, just boils back down to the fact that therapy really should be normalized more, which thankfully over the past decade it has been. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Bear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.